guys, welcome to another episode of Know Your Worth TV. I'm your host, Efrain Lozada, and here we are again with another great episode to educate, entertain, and elevate you. And today we have another special guest, man, somebody that I known back when I was only 15 years old, Universal days, and yet we may not speak to each other every day. When we do, it is great conversations. Always great to catch up with him. And now that he's a full-time entrepreneur in the real estate game, I thought it was very, very important that we bring him on so he can share his story, where he's at today, and how he is servicing others. So, Mr. Yair, what is good, man?
What is good, Mr. Efra? Thank you so much for having me on this show. I'm very humble, grateful that this opportunity came across. It's been a long time coming, and seeing you grow and in becoming the person you are today, it makes me proud. It makes me feel like a big brother. I'm a big brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It felt like, man, it's been some years, and we just happen to run into each other, man. Whether it's downtown, whether it's at a Publix, I mean, it could be anywhere, man. And when we do run into each other, it's nothing but love. It's just, it's excitement to see where we are today. You know, two Hispanics that have gone through some struggles, that have overcome them, that understand what their purpose is in life. But before we get started on your story, because I think it's so important, and you'll be able to inspire others that are listening. But who is Yair, man?
Yair, man. Yair goes by many treats, man. Mr. Captain Integrity, the connector, the entertainer. Jair is a person of service, person of service, always looking out on how he can help others, find the best version of themselves. As a human, I'm not perfect, and sometimes I have to kind of ground myself into that at some point, not everything is gonna be as planned, but the service comes from being able to see other people outshine, being able to see other people growth, and planting the seed, man. Planting the seed to me is very important, because once you plant the seed, it can be 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. But once you plant the seed the good way, is the legacy will continue, and one day that seed that you planted is going to become a beautiful bloom tree, man.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So let's kind of go back on the beginning journeys. Yair, people may not know that didn't grow up here in the United States, right? You came from, where did you come from?
Panama,
All right.
15 years old, man.
15
Straight out of
years
the boat,
old,
15 years old, man.
coming to America, man. What was that? What does that feel like to you, man? Kind of leaving home at 15, coming to America, learning the language. Did you have to learn the language, or were you already studying it back home?
Well, I will say that the plan was not to stay. Decision was not made by
Um,
me. It was made by mother. Coming here, of course, it was a different learning experience. I believe that I've always been a people's person
mhm.
since before getting over here. But of course, the challenges were making new friends, learning how to speak a new language, stepping out of that comfort zone of knowing what I knew. I was able to break out of that. I was able to graduate out of high school. I learned the language, created friendships, and always look for the next step on how to better myself. And I guess found the right people. Some people, probably some people were good encouragement. Some of the people were not good encouragement. But at the end of the day, I've decided to stay with the ones that were going to instill me in goodness.
I think that was me, right? I mean, we kind
Hey,
of
we're
you
still
got me at
connected. We're
15,
still connected, and I'm always following you. I'm like that raving fan that always look at and say, you know what, well done, man, and I know more coming.
Yeah, man. Every time I see you, man, we literally have smiles on faces, right? Like we're siblings that haven't seen each other in such a long
Yes,
time, but just
sir.
happy to see one another. And it's not all the time, but when it happens, man, it's just great to always catch up. And I'm happy to even have you on here to catch up,
Yes,
for you to share your story, because it is a very inspiring story, right? You last time I spoke to you, you spoke about purpose.
yes.
Can you kind of talk about what your purpose is in life?
My purpose in life, man. First of all, I'm a child of God. And by being a child of God is a big enough purpose to be able to impact other people around me. Being able to plant the seed, like I mentioned earlier, is one of my biggest purpose. Being able to connect with people, that's one of my biggest purpose. I see that when I speak to you, I see that when I come across other people that I haven't seen in so many years, and I'm still able to get a smile out of their face, and being able to leave a word of positive into another human being, be able to, wow, to be missed, even though you haven't lived this earth, being able to be missed. And it's not an ego feeling. It's more of a, wow, I've done something impactful in somebody else's life, that person really misses being around a character like me. I make mistakes like every other human, but I catch myself, and I'm learning how to be a better listener, and be able to, instead of just follow with questions, to be able to understand others, because it's about being interested in other people. That's how people are going to like you. You cannot just come and just throw everything about yourself. I want to know about Ephraim. I want to know, what is it Ephraim that build him up. Being able to hear your story, and being able to see the vulnerable part of you is something that is very impactful, and that pretty much wants me to get to know more about Ephraim, and learn and grow from your story. Being able to embrace somebody else's story is also growth, especially when that person impacts your life.
Absolutely, man. I one thing I realize is that when I share the story of my past, because as you mentioned, we're not perfect, right? We
Yeah,
we had to go through a lot of things in life to kind of get to where we're at today,
yeah,
right? We had to make the mistakes, we had to go through the failures. We just weren't the best people, probably. At least me, I was speaking for myself. So when I share those stories, they were like, "Man, and you're here today," and I'm like, "That's the testimony I want to share." Right? That
absolutely.
we all go through things. We have to learn. You mentioned it plenty of times. We have to learn to become the person we want to be, and the person that we we put on this earth to be. You know what I mean? So back to that purpose.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely, a good call there. But I want to kind of talk about the seeds. You're talking about planting seeds. You're 15 years old. You come here from Panama. Really didn't want to be here. Where did you realize now that you were planting seeds back then?
um with the type of, I will say, the type of connections. When I say connections, it's not just friendships, man.
Mhm.
Is being able to remember remember a beautiful moment. I have come across so many people in my life, and being able to just reminisce on the goodness of that one time we first met. You know, I will say, I'm going to talk about someone who is not here with us any longer. He used to work with at Universal Studios, Isaac Rivera.
Mhm. Yes,
Even
sir.
though I was not able to be around Isaac as much as we used to when we were used to work in Universal Studios, you know, just remembering him, and being able to embrace the moments that I had the opportunity to be around him, and seeing him grow, and of course being able to remember the conversations we have, and where he actually made it to be in life. That to me is planting a seed, because at some point I know for sure that, and I believe that we had a moment of clarity where we actually sat down and talked about life, and I saw it with my own eyes where he ended up at, because those were the things that he talked about with me. For example, talking with you about your dreams and your passion of becoming a father, being a family man, being able to embrace something that you were not able to experience. You see what I'm coming from?
Yep.
So having those conversations is also planting a seed. Being able to listen to the other person is also planting a seed. And then living in the moment and seeing now in our present that that tree is blooming, as we talked about 10, 15 years ago, that's planting a seed. And I see it in every single situation in my life, especially when I used to be in the corporate world where I can work anywhere I was being able to give him the opportunity to work at. I know I planted a seed everywhere because I still see the growth of that seed I planted on somebody else.
Absolutely. Let's kind of go back into planting seeds. Sometimes we even know that we dropped the seed, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think that's really the conversations. When we have those conversations, we didn't realize that we did plant those seeds years ago. We weren't working in the same department. Universal being a huge establishment, but just the conversations, it was just, how we made each other feel at that time, or the things that may have heard from you, you've heard from me, that allowed us to connect in that sense. And years now, I mean, I was there when I was 15, 16 years old. I'm about to be 32. There's been a lot of years in between. And while we
Yeah.
didn't see each other all the time, those moments is what allowed us to even have this conversation. So yeah, planting seeds is, sometimes didn't even know that you dropped that seed. It wasn't intentional, right? It was almost an accident, but it
Mm-hmm.
was meant for us. And like you said, we sat down before I became a father, and you kind of shared your story and opened up to me a little bit that I didn't even know even existed. So I was always appreciative of that. And again, it was because the seeds that were planted,
There we
unintentional
go.
seeds. So sometimes there's intentional seeds that you may, plan, but sometimes there's unintentional seeds that you don't plan, and they happen for a reason. And sometimes we have to dig a little deeper on, why was this seed planted? I mean, what
Mm.
is it for me that I take out of this? So I love that you're talking about the planting the seeds, because people don't realize that they're doing it, or sometimes it just happens. You didn't even know you did it, but you are watering it without yourself even knowing. So that's crucial, man. And rest in peace to Isaac, man, a beautiful soul,
Absolutely.
man, that I was able
Absolutely.
to also work alongside and just also go to church with, and always a smile on his face, full of energy,
Always.
man. And
Always.
may God bless his family. I know
Absolutely.
he had a wife and a little one that unfortunately was left behind, but I'm pretty sure God will be covering them, throughout their journey
Absolutely.
on this
Uh,
earth. But yeah, man, thank you for bringing that up, man. We forget about those moments and those people that
yeah.
were great, just great energy. And I do want to kind of go back on how important it is to have that what they say, sometimes your first impression means everything. And
Hmm.
clearly the first impression that we had was everything, man, because here we are years later. So could you talk about what it is when that first impression, like how important it is to you, or how important you think it is for others that may be listening?
It's how you come across people, Efrain. And that's called being mature too. Over the years, you will mature about the way you approach other people. Um, People will sense your vibe,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
and they will also sense if you're being genuine or if you're just coming out of an act. And anytime if I come across somebody that I show interest, I come in a genuine way, and I want to make sure that I can grow something out of it that is not just going to be in that moment, but moments, future moments. Like you said, maybe I might not be seeing this person every day out of my life, but that first impression, if it came out genuine and truth, it will flourish someplace, somehow, somewhere. It feels so great when you have the opportunity to catch up with somebody you made a first impression on, and being able to, like I said earlier, to reminisce on that first impression. And maybe that first impression was not planned, it was just a natural, genuine impression. And see the fruit of that impression years later, it has made me who I am today. Throughout my career, throughout my friendships and the connections that I have made, I am blessed to say that the first impression has gone a long way. Did I ever make the best first impression? No, I did not. I'm a human. But like I said, maturity, growth, wisdom, you will learn how to, really appreciate the fact that you have that one time, one shot to leave an impact in somebody's life that at the end of the day will flourish, like I said, somewhere, someplace, somehow, many years to come or short years to come. But yes, that first impression is very important. And I believe that I made a first impression on you because we kept in touch somehow, somewhere, and we're here today.
Absolutely, man. You did, man. Listen, that's why every time I see you, I'm like, yo, man, what up? What up, Yair? Um, but a lot of through this all, you've kind of been mentioning that we're not perfect. Can you share a moment that you felt that was not perfect for you, but you were able to learn and grow from? Because I mentioned it earlier, but we all have to overcome something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
What is something that you felt that you can look back and say, wow, that have may not been Yair, right? That's just
Mhm,
not who you were or
mhm,
wanted to be, but it
mhm,
happened, but
mhm.
had to overcome. Do you have a moment in your life that you can share with us?
Anger. Anger is a moment in my life that I had to overcome. Being able to forgive. First, forgive myself, and also forgive others who hurt me. Anger
Mm,
is something that will follow you, whether you are the most beautiful soul. Anger will follow you if you don't put it aside. And
absolutely,
you know what I'm talking about. So
absolutely.
yes, that anger reflected in my personal relationship. That anger reflected sometimes in my work life because I was not able to let go of certain things, and I was always on the defense, thinking that somebody else was trying to hurt me.
Do you feel, because that's big that you even mentioned that, right? Because we
Yeah.
don't speak about that, and that's one of those things that a lot of us may deal with, and it really stems from our past and things that maybe we've encountered. A lot of times, didn't even know that we had, right? But I can kind of testify to that. Same thing in my relationship. There was a lot of anger, but some people would never know that because when you see me out, I'm all smiles, I'm excited, I'm happy. um, when you realize that there was an issue with the anger part of it, right? Because it was affecting the relationship. Um, what what did you have to do to kind of overcome that?
Um, Understand that not the other person is not the problem. Understand that I'm the problem. Understand that I have to work on me before seeing change on the other person. And yet I'm still working on it. I'm gonna be 37 years old in a couple of weeks, and I'm still working on it. Learning how to be apologetic in a genuine way, not just to brush things up, but apologize like you mean it. But work on ourselves. It's funny because I was listening to um, the power of positive thinking, and it talks about a couple that were having problems that have been together for so many years, and the wife, she understood that she had to make a change for that relationship to be go back to the same way it was, which was loving, happy, uh, communicative, understanding, right? She realized that by making that change herself and being a lot more apologetic, being a lot more soft spoken, that fire was going to come back again. They were to a point where the husband said, I want a divorce, and she asked for 90 days. Um, if after 90 days pass, things were not fixed, she will sign the papers after so many years of being together. So guess what? The 90 days came, and she asked him, honey, are you ready to sign the papers? He goes, what papers? And she goes, the divorce papers. He goes, woman, what are you talking about? I cannot leave without you.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, sometimes it takes that, right? It takes us to get to that point to really start working on ourselves. It takes us to get to the point where we're going possibly lose everything or lose the ones that we love, to then self-evaluate ourselves, right? And man, that was tough for me because I was single, I wasn't in a relationship, I didn't really know I had issues, and it wasn't until I met somebody that loved me more than I loved myself
Mm.
that was able to kind of allow me to get into a different, space where I realized like, man, I almost lost that individual. And I think it's important that we do sometimes self-reflect and understand that one, we can overcome it. Two, we don't even have to hold on to it anymore,
Mm-mm.
right? Like you said, apologize. Um, Understand that we are the ones carrying that within us, and we don't have to anymore, right? What has happened to us when we were young kids and all that pain and all that hurt, we don't have to carry it anymore.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, I'm happy to know that you are in a place where you are able to acknowledge it and
Yes.
then do something about it. And that's what's important. I think the first step is always acknowledging it, that there is an issue. The second step is how do you work towards it? Um, it is being transparent. It is talking to somebody. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a therapist, whether it's the individual that hurt you. Sometimes just letting someone know that, hey, I I forgive you,
Mm.
right? And then that in itself would then kind of release so much within you. Um, so thank you for just kind of being transparent on that, man.
Oh, thank
Especially that
you.
as a man, right? We just don't do these things. We don't talk about what's inside those emotions, and we just kind of let it build up, and that anger, that person that we're really not comes out. So I'm happy
Absolutely.
that you're able to kind of share that, man. Hope that you continue to just thrive in that perspective in your life. Um, so Yair, man, you're here at 15 years old. You've overcome, some anger. You've planted some seeds. You found your purpose. But how did you get there? How did you say, I need to find my purpose? This is my purpose. Because some people may be struggling on finding what their purpose is. What can you kind of give someone that maybe trying to actually get to that point in their lives where they want to know what their purpose is, but they just don't know how to get there?
You jump. You jump, and you also give yourself permission. Give
Yeah.
yourself permission to be great. Give yourself permission to fail.
Did you know I was gonna ask this question, man? You put that book up pretty quick, man.
You jump, brother. Just hearing Steve Harvey's story, not a perfect story, but we see the results. We see how much he has overcome, right?
Absolutely.
Um, Jumping and giving yourself permission to be okay to fail. Okay, because there's failures in every game. You have to fail. If you don't fail, you haven't experienced anything yet. Okay,
How do you
so
learn if you don't fail, right?
how do you learn if you don't fail? It's like growing up, when you have that the training wheels in your bicycle. If you don't take the training wheels, you're not really riding that bike.
Yep.
Once you take the training wheels and you fall, you're gonna get some scars, right? Well, guess what? Now you can talk about those scars. Oh, I remember when the training wheel came up and I actually scarred myself, but I'm a great rider now. You gotta fail. You gotta fail on everything that you set yourself into. It's not going to be perfect, and it's okay. It's okay because the most important thing is that you will brush it off, get up, and keep it going. Okay. You're gonna get disappointed. You will get negative feedback, but it's okay. We're not perfect, but we can become better.
Yeah. And failing, man, people take that so hard. People just don't overcome those moments. And if I can kind of give any advice on failing, man, I've, and I'm pretty sure you have as well. We've had our failure moments that could
Mhm,
have took us out completely,
mhm.
right? Mentally, physically, emotionally.
Plenty,
Yeah.
plenty.
But I think the important is understanding that it's just part of life, and it's okay to fail. And I think a lot of times we're meant to feel that failure is not good, that if we fail we can't get back up and do it again. But no, you can. Like, those are the moments that you learn from the most, is failures, is being able to then, as we mentioned earlier, acknowledging the failures. How did I fail, and how can I actually fix it the next time? Right? Those are crucial. Like, I remember the first time I failed, man,
All
and I
right.
always say my first failure, believe it or not, was when I had a cafe. But
Mm,
I felt like I couldn't close the doors, even though I was digging a deep hole.
mhm.
I felt like I couldn't fail because society just tells you that you can't fail, and that you're not good enough, if you fail, or so forth, so on. That doesn't mean that's not true.
Mm-mm.
You know, leaving that behind, looking back and say, okay, where did I go wrong, and how can I fix it now moving forward? You know what I mean? So for those that are talking, thinking that I failed, it's okay. Get back up, dust yourself off, man, and go back at it again. Because that's what makes you stronger every single time that you fail. When you can get back up, you can acknowledge where you messed up, and where you can continue to move forward and inspire others. Because what a great story. We talk about Steve Harvey. What a great story to know where he was at one day, living on his car, you know, no money. But you see him today, the dude's a success story. And that's
Yes.
what makes him so great, is that he's able to be transparent and share those. And because we see that, now it makes us feel good about it. So you're that individual that is watching and you feel like, or listening, wherever, however you may be in taking this interview, understand, man, it is okay. Me, and Yair, we've been in those moments, and as he mentioned earlier, we're not perfect, but we understand how to get back up. And not saying it's easy. Sometimes we may take a week, sometimes it may take a couple of days, but understand that you can. I'm not saying that is the easiest thing to do, but it is very important that you do.
Yes.
So that's
And
good, man.
and it's funny now that you mentioned that earlier, while you're, I'm embracing all the goodness that you're giving out to, the audience. For any father or mother out there, when your baby's starting how to walk, you see your baby fail so many times. Well, you know what your baby does? Takes another route. You know what?
Yep.
Last time I tried to make it, but you know what? Now I'm gonna rely on that coffee table, because now in their head the coffee table is my point of stop. That's where I take a break, right?
Yep.
They stumble, they come to that coffee table and put their hands there and they go, "Ooh, I got this." Now, give it a couple of months, the coffee table won't even matter anymore, and
Yep.
then not even a year, you see a baby walking. Why as humans you know what? That's a tough question. Why as humans we shoot ourselves short when we come from the beginnings of being, we're brave when we're growing up, we're a lot more braver than what we are
Very
when we
brave.
are adults. So I just want to leave that out there for parents who can just utilize that experience and realize that, hey, it's okay to fail. Just find that coffee table, set yourself up. Couple of months from there, who knows how long, however long it's gonna take you, you won't need that coffee table to hold yourself anymore, because you'll be
I
able to
would say
walk
our
on your
bones
own.
don't operate. I would say the bones don't operate the same, but I'm just saying.
Well, you know what I'm trying to,
No, no, no,
what I'm
for
trying
real
to come
though.
up,
I've actually I've been
make a
able to
point
witness
there.
that, with my 1 year old, and to see her forget walking. She's running. She's climbing up the stairs. But yeah, like you said, man, there was a time that she just wasn't. She was just sitting there trying to first learn how to roll, from her back to her stomach, or to crawl and to take steps. So yeah, it's those steps that you have to take, but you have to, as you mentioned, continue to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Take those bumps to the head. Fall, hit yourself hard. Sometimes rock bottom, right? Hitting rock bottom to then elevate yourself back to the top. Those are so many different times. So many people go through those stories. The only difference is that me and you and others that have been on this channel speak about a lot. We're not just here gloating and talking about that. Yair is a realtor and left his 9 to 5 job, but Yair can go back and say, hey, this is how I got here. Don't get it twisted. Like, yes, I'm here, but there's still a story that got me to this point, and we don't forget those moments. And I think it's so important that you never forget where you come from, because you have to go back and just kind of, it makes you feel good when you can go back and say, man, I remember when I was this person, or I did this, and here I am today. Like, an accomplishment. Your son can look back at you, or even your friends or other family, and like, man, like, look at Yair, he's doing it. And it's important that you always say, yes, I'm here, but don't forget where I've come from. You know what I mean? Because that's what makes us, right?
Absolutely, that's what makes us, man. Every shining object comes from a very dark place,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So let's talk about it, man. So, we talked about Universal, and obviously that was a very, very long time ago. Now you're a realtor. right? Full-time realtor. Let's go
Yes,
there.
sir.
The
Yes, sir.
entrepreneur doing his
Entrepreneur.
thing.
Yes, sir.
So Yair, the realtor, he's here. The branding. I see the little pin here on the side. Show the shirt. Show the shirt. You got the shirt on? Come on. Branding at his
I'm
best.
representing, man, to the fullest, man.
Branding at his
Collaboration,
best.
growth, culture. We bring it all, man. I'm
Yeah,
not.
man.
I'm not trying to promote anything out here, but we bring it all.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Plug it in. Plug it in. No, but it's great, man. But I really want you to share how you got there because what I didn't know, right, when you were doing real estate, and was that you were grinding, man.
Yes.
Like what looked like a full-time job was not a full-time at that moment, but there
Yes.
was a grind that you had to put in. So you would actually have your daytime, and then you would, fill this in wherever you can to get to the point that you are today, where this is your full income, this is your life. You're helping others, build their dream homes or find those dream homes. What did that look like for you, man? Like, can we go back and tell them some of the struggle that you've overcome in that aspect?
So first and foremost, we give our dues where dues are due for my support system. My wife. It's not easy being married and
Is she in the
carrying.
room? You saying this because she's in the room, man?
Nah, she's not even in the room, bro. But you gotta, that's what integrity means. Do the right thing even if they're not watching you, right? So yes, that's my support system. Of course, it hasn't been easy. You know that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know that. Because it's time demanding. It's time demanding. I was scared to make the transition. Yes, I was. I was scared to make the transition. I prepare myself. I prepare myself because I didn't want to regret anything at the end of the day. I wanted to make sure that once I'm ready to jump in, I didn't let anybody else rush me either. Because people who care for you will also try to rush you into instant stuff. But you have to make the decision. Decision comes from you, nobody
Absolutely.
else. Okay. Yes, this I was 9 to 5, and my work started right after 9 to 5. The grind continues. When I was asked if I'm full time, I don't think I lied when I said yes, this is my business, because you got to treat your business like a business. Even if your business starts from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., it is still your business. So
Absolutely.
it is full time. Who is doing that business? You or somebody else? You are.
Yeah.
So that is your business. So me hiding it, never hid it, but I show the grind, I show the hustle, and that got me where I am today. Like I said, the transition was scary because uncertain is scary. Uncertain is very scary. But you still have to jump. You make the jump, and once you make the jump, you make sure that you have your systems in place. You make sure that you have your support in place. I'm actually growing a team now. And I tell you what, man, it feels good to be able to be around other human beings that want to grow with you. Remember
Absolutely.
also that you cannot do it all by yourself. You cannot. And I have learned this from massive leaders that are in high levels. You cannot do it by yourself. Find a support system that have your same drive, your same goals. And even if the drive is not there, you still instill that drive into them, because it's going to come up. We cannot just set ourselves short on a specific person, because that person may have some greatness that you don't know of. And we all started that way. Somebody else gave us the opportunity to show our greatness, right? And
Absolutely.
that's why we're here today. So that's the transition was hard. I did it for, I would say, 4 years. When I started, I got my real estate license. I was still working full time, and my pipeline. Thank you for my pipeline. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for the people who trusted me with the biggest investment of their life. But the way I came and approached it is with integrity from the beginning, because I care about what I do. If I wouldn't care, then I wouldn't do it. So that's what drives me. My belief in being able to accomplish something. And some transactions, which I shared last time on my social media, some transactions may not be the easiest transactions that you may have to deal with. And I had to become the motivational speaker. I had to become the transaction coordinator. I had to become the best friend. I had to become the person who listens to, things that nobody else want to listen to. Does it get overwhelming? Yes, it does get overwhelming. I'm learning how to be more proactive and not let it overwhelm me, because if I decided to become an entrepreneur, I also have to understand that entrepreneurship would come with the word called stress. You have to know how to attack the stress and be more of a solution type of person. So that's what I'm focusing on, every solution possible when a challenge comes my way. And if I don't have the answer, I will always try to find somebody else who can give me the answer that I don't have. That's when I say relying on somebody else is okay. Having other people on your organization that support you is okay. And that's why I make the change, because I realize that I have a support system that always has my back, man. If not, I wouldn't make this jump. Have a great support system, man, from my personals to people that I'm getting around with. Um, it is important to have a support system when you make such a drastic change, because at the end of the day, I was reading today, one of my colleagues posted on Facebook, we have to take care of our own health plans. We don't have any 401ks. We're our own, and we have to make sure that we know how to prepare ourselves for these type of situations. It's not easy.
Yeah, man, and having a support system is also good to for them to pick you up when you're down.
Absolutely.
I have, there's times when we get to that point, right? Entrepreneurship is hard. Sometimes you have to kind of step back and kind of reevaluate the plan, because
Hmm.
maybe the plan that you had just wasn't working out, and it's okay. It's okay to kind of take a step back and go back to the drawing board. So don't always feel because you have this plan, this is what you have to kind of run with. No, sometimes you have to reevaluate. Sometimes you have to move things around. As you said, sometimes it may be partner up with someone because maybe we couldn't do it on our own. And it seems like you had a lot of people that kind of got you to the place that you're in today, whether it's,
Absolutely.
just moral support or it's the hands-on support. And I'm just kind of excited to know that, you did take that leap of faith and now you're building a team. Like how wonderful that was. It could have went the other way, but you
Hmm.
stuck to your guns. You never really left until you felt it was the right time. And here you are today. And because I just kind of want you to talk about, there's so many moving pieces in real estate, and I don't know all of them, but I do want you to kind of, maybe for those that do want to do real estate, maybe those that want to your services, where
Yes.
exactly do you stand in the real estate game?
Um, Accountability is very important. Anything you do in life is accountability is very important. You got to be accountable for your actions. Real estate has provided a different string of income, of course, for me and my family, and it has so many opportunities that are endless. If you want to become that investor, if you want to just take advantage of the short-term rental game, the main thing is to have a goal of what exactly you envision in your career.
Mhm.
Set that goal in paper, and put it into action. First, align yourself with people that are here to support you and guide you through it. In this business, when as new agents, sometimes we come in, yes, we have some support, but then we also think that we have to be given every single tool in the book. We cannot expect that. We also have to make sure that we put our own efforts
Yeah.
into it to become the best version of ourselves. We have to look for business. We cannot just expect business to come our way. And how you look for business: being genuine, being yourself, understanding and listening to people's wants. Because in this business, if you don't listen to people's wants and make it about yourself, it ain't gonna work.
So where do you appreciate that for anyone that's trying to get to the real estate game? I mean, that's so much great knowledge. Now, what is your service that you're providing? I know there's kind of like the broker part, or there's just so many moving pieces. I'm not 100% sure of all of them, but what is your service that you're providing to those that may need some assistance trying to find
Well,
a
if you're
home?
looking to invest, if you're looking to rent, if you're looking to sell, or just buy your primary home, that's why I'm here for, to make sure that I can be that piece of education, that piece of understanding and guidance. Um, I talked about my own personal story when I became a homeowner. I learned a few things that I didn't think were possible by helping others. By helping others, I was not able to embrace my own experience. And I
Yeah.
use that. I use my own experience, as a tool to also encourage others that yes, it is possible. As an immigrant, I got my first home, you know, and I work hard. It wasn't easy. Um, my wife didn't like the house. You asked me to be real, right? But now we made it into our
No.
home. We made it
Yeah.
into our home. So yes, my services are based on, you know, finding what exactly, fits you the best, and also to be, be very proactive on clarifying that, not every shiny object is going to be able to be acquired, but what's obtainable, I will help you to obtain it. And I'll be truthful and I will tell you exactly what's going to happen if you don't listen. And sometimes in this business, we got to set the record straight from the beginning. We don't tell people what to do. We pretty much guide them into what's their best option. At the end of the day, it is your investment, not my investment. My time is my investment into you,
Absolutely.
as long as we work as a team, because it's a team effort. And nowadays you don't have to find things for people. Nowadays, in the world we live in, clients find their own houses, man. And as realtors, we also have to understand that we always have to stay up on our game to be able to be two steps ahead and make sure that we are as much value as possible to the clients that we start working with.
Good stuff, man. That's good. Man, we went through a little roller coaster here, the ups and the downs, man. I appreciate you so much for your time, and I do want to respect your time. But one question that I always ask before we, separate here, because we are on Know Your Worth TV, and it's so important that we share what is that Know Your Worth moment. Yair, can you think about a time where you felt, I know my worth. This is it. This is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. So that you can kind of share with others that may be still listening here with us.
Being myself and being able to give myself permission to make decisions is my know my worth moment. It's okay to be yourself and make your own decisions. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you how you're supposed to run your life. Know your worth means give yourself permission to make the changes that you have to make so you can be the best version of yourself.
Come on now, Yair. Come on, leaving us here with that great tip. It's been a pleasure, man. I thank you so much for taking your time today and just feeding us and educating us in the real estate game. As we mentioned earlier, just elevating us to a different level of our lives. For you guys that have been listening, there were just so many gems that were kind of dropped here. And just, giving us true Yair, leaving nothing on the table and being transparent. So thank you so much. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you guys subscribe and you guys like to the channel. And believe it or not, Yair may be around just a little bit more, but we'll talk about that on another time. But it's definitely been a pleasure, man. We could be here all day kind of talking about our stories and educating others. But if you guys haven't already, you guys can see some more interviews here. But again, don't forget to subscribe because that's the only way that we can continue to grow this channel. Until next time, we'll see you.
Know your worth.